And welcome back to another edition of Everything Football 62. I'm your host, Jonathan Big Tech Johnson, aka Uncle Tex, aka Professor Tex. Before we start, let's smash that like button, subscribe to the page, share with a friend so y'all can have a conversation. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, leave it in the comment sections below and we get right on it. The man you see sitting right there, that's Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan, the man you see right there, he is responsible for the mess that you see in devaluing running backs over 20 some odd years ago. A lot of you guys, some of you guys might not know this. Some of you guys, when he started doing this, some of you guys probably wasn't even born yet. Especially if a guy's like 23 years old, he wouldn't even notice unless he ends up being a nerd and start finding all this stuff out. That guy right there, who's on the cusp of possibly getting inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And probably rightfully so. Nice offensive mind, started with the Niners and whatnot, and the Raiders and whatnot, and all that type of stuff. And then, of course, with the Broncos, and then later on, of course, with the kind of somewhat resurrected the Redskins. That guy. And I'll explain to you what he did. After you had a Terrell Davis, who did what he did, who was also a Hall of Famer, because of the years that he put in back-to-back Super Bowls, 2,000 yards, two-time offensive player of the year, one-time MVP, rushed for 2,000 yards and all that, had to put him in, even though his injury-riddled season. But what he did in those 2 or 3 years, from I want to say 96, 7, and 8. Hell of a seasons that he had, and the team won, so that put him on a particular trajectory to become that of a Hall of Famer, and rightfully so. He got in and whatnot because of his short work, but it was a hell of a body of work for that 3-year, for a nice little 3-year run, and they won, which is one of the most important things. But this man right here, after Terrell Davis started getting all of these injuries, in '99, Mike Shanahan would draft Alandis Gary in the 4th round. Davis is down. They go to Gary, rushes for 1,159 yards. I forget how many touchdowns he rushed out. He goes down or gets bumped out by they get a 2000 draft choice, who ended up being Offensive Rookie of the Year by the name of Mike Anderson. Mike Anderson rushes for 1,487 yards. Hell of a season. 15 touchdowns. They got him in the 6th round. Got him in the 6th round. Okay. Then in 2005, he had some injury riddled. 2005 rushed for 1,000. 2005, I think he rushed for like 1,014 yards and 12 touchdowns. Right? You don't really have to pay these guys no money. He's just reloading. That's the one thing about football that you'll find out about. And the way you see is definitely over there in the way the Pats, in the way the Bill Belichick coaches. As we all well know in football, next man up. That's how it goes. Next man up. Next man up. Because remember, coaches, they have a job to win football games. Okay? Next man up. Right? 2002. In 2002, they go and get Clinton Portis in the 2nd round. In 2 years, I think he's Rookie of the Year as well, Offensive Rookie, if I'm not mistaken. He would rush for 3,099 yards with 29 touchdowns. They didn't want to pay him. Shanahan said, no, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. He goes off to Washington, has a pretty productive career there. Could have been better. I think it would have been better if he stayed in Denver, but they wasn't going to pay him because Shanahan's like, this is working for me. Even though Denver really wasn't doing that much football team-wise and whatnot. I don't think it would be until about, until 2006 when Adrian Peterson came in and went one of the first running backs in a long time that was taken in the 1st round. And not that many after that really happened that I can recall. And then that's when Zeke Elliott came in and he was getting ready to turn the tide, and it was like it was working and whatnot. Then Christian McCaffrey in 2017 and whatnot and stuff like that. However, Now the trade started running out the tire on Ezekiel Elliott, and then we see what happened with that of with a Christian McCaffrey. So when these things happen and whatnot, Shanahan had the blueprint for I can find backs that can give me just as much productivity as a first round back. And that's it. If I can get some solid quarterback play, some real good quarterback play, I don't have to deal with that, and I can still get this, and I can find a gem in the second, third, fourth round, sixth round, or whatever round it may be. That's the game he's been playing. Okay, so that started with him basically in '99. So it's been going on for about 23 years. The devaluing running backs, not having it, and it's a quarterback's game. It's a quarterback and wide receivers game now. When it used to be 70s, 80s, and parts of the 90s and whatnot, it was 60. I mean, it always had been the running back, going way back, going way, way, way back. So this is what started happening. So then you have that, and like I always say with Adrian Peterson, I honestly think Adrian Peterson is the last Mohican back that you can put up on Mount Rushmore that do the things that backs that I'm used to doing, taking over games, being very good for 5, 6, 7 year run and whatnot. And Adrian Peterson, in my opinion, is that last back that's done that. I thought Ezekiel was on his way. If things would have went right, he didn't have the college issues, he probably would have led the league about 4 times. He did it twice. He could have led the league because he's missed some games, and he was having. And if he would have not missed the 6 games, he still rushed the 900 to some odd yards. If he doesn't miss 6 games, he probably finished with about 1,500 yards in his that was second in his third season or whatever. In his second or third season. He started this. Mike Shanahan is the culprit of this. Now let's do this. Now, this is what, and I touched on this before. Now, seeing this, fair use, what TJ Houshmandzadeh said. This is just this past week. Listen to this.
Austin Eckler is a big reason why. And you get to this, and they say, damn, Austin Eckler, why is it me? Well, Austin Eckler was undrafted, goes to Western Colorado University. Melvin Gordon wants another contract. The Chargers say no. He holds out. Austin Eckler balls out and shows not just the Chargers, but the NFL. I can be undrafted. I can be not highly thought of. And now I'm going to be the same guy that came into the league, just won an opportunity. Now I want to get paid so much money because I'm replaceable. And I've shown that these guys that are drafted in the first round or drafted high like Melvin Gordon was can be replaceable by somebody that was undrafted. And so that's the dilemma that running backs are in. They feel like they can find a guy that can basically do what Austin Eckler did to Melvin Gordon. It's very simple, and it sucks because it's not many guys going to come in and do what Austin Eckler did. But it's happened. All these guys on that picture that we showed earlier, the majority of those guys were first-round picks outside of Eckler and J.K. Dobbins and Tony Pollard, Aaron Jones. So, I mean, Austin Eckler, he's trying to be a leader in this situation, and I'll credit him with that. He's trying to lead these running backs to, let's say, what can we do? But Nick Chubb just said it. What can we do? We are handcuffed. Unless things change, it's going to have to be a generational type run, an Adrian Peterson type dude to come into the league and change everything. If that doesn't happen, it's going to be like this at least till the CBA run.
See, now RG3 talked about this last week as well. But this is literally, and with Eckler is no anomaly because if you can play ball, you can play ball. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you come from. Can you play? You know what I'm saying? Just because a joke going the first round doesn't mean success. Just look at the quarterback position. I've already talked about that before. That goes for them, but what RG3 say, everybody collectively needs to come to the table, not just running backs, every player, because that happens at every single position. That doesn't just happen at running back. It's running back because they used to be top of the food chain. Now they're no longer there, and they're being devalued. they don't put much value in that because quarterbacks are throwing the ball 40 some odd times a game. So I can get a nice wide receiver, got the quarterback and whatnot. We throwing the ball 40 some odd times a game. We don't need it. And you got the Patriots and how they won. You got how Kansas City's winning with their strong quarterback play and whatnot. And not so much of a running game. Right? Running game non-existent. You had Kareem Hunt who could have. I still say they'd be on another level with Kareem Hunt, but that's just my take on it. Now, that's what happens there. Now, this was said about 4 or 5 days ago, almost last week sometime. I said this back in April. Taking my sip.
Both these guys get drafted. We're talking about McCaffrey and Eckler. Eckler's played in 89. They both came in the league in 2017. Kane's played 89, 75. 811 rushing attempts, 1,025. 3,727 yards. He's only about 200-300 yards from 4,000 yards. 4,725, 26 yards. 34 to 38 as far as rushing touchdowns, right? First downs rushing 225 to 196, 41, longest run, da-da-da. Y'all see it up there, man. And all that. And it's just like my man just threw it up there and just like, I ain't gonna say nothing else. Now, McCaffrey is slated to make another $14 to $15 million. Eckler's still making about $2 or $3 million a year. In the last 3 years. So in 2022, 17 games. First time McCaffrey played that many games the full season since 2019 when he won 1,000. That's where he got his contract from. $244 rushing attempts. 915, 1,139 yards. 13 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns. 46 first down, but rushing 59. 72 as far as longest run, 49. 4.5, 4.7, 53.8, 6. You see it. Now you tell me who's better. Now, McCaffrey, and the only reason I'm really bringing this up is the simple fact that McCaffrey, whatever his damn name is, he all of a sudden is this guy that's all over Twitter. He's all over Twitter. He's all over. It was all the Super Bowl stuff and this is that because he would have won a team 49.
Now, mind you, when I talked about this, McCaffrey basically missed all of 2020 and 2021. He missed 2 years worth of football. Look, I go by that. If you miss those games, and you're talking about someone who's almost missed 2 years worth of football, then comes back and everything like that. So when you go from 2020 to 2022, their numbers are identical because you still got to get on the field. See, that counts against you when you miss seasons. So he missed basically 2 years worth of football. You see, like I talked about earlier, the amount of games. Eckler's played more games. You follow? And that's the reason why Melvin Gordon got tossed out of there and why he's bouncing around like a damn ping pong ball now trying to find out, has all the skills. He can't hold on to the ball. That's his problem. He could be a great back. He does not hold on to the ball. Case in point, Chargers. Case in point, Broncos. Case in point. Okay? I think I'll go back up here a little bit more.
Okay. Christian McCaffrey has missed damn near 2 years worth of football. When you break down the numbers of actually playing the game, it was a 16, 17 game season or whatever like that, missing all those games. Now, like I said, Daniel Jones for the Giants, without Saquon Barkley, they're a losing team. We'll see what happens this year. But he already showed that he can't carry them. Christian McCaffrey, who ain't only been to the playoffs because Cam was there in 2017, his rookie year. We rushed like 400 yards. And Cam was the man. You put the ball in his hands. 2018, he was having a pretty decent season. Still, not much. 2019 was his joint. You gave him some BS Pro Bowl shit because that garbage Pro Bowl shit don't even really mean a whole lot no more. So where did we get to this point at? Does Austin Eckler deserve that? Look at the last 3 years. How did it work? The last 3 years, right? For Eckler, 2,356 yards, 26 touchdowns, receiving 1,772 yards, 15 touchdowns. C-Mac, 1,806, 1,233 yards, 7 touchdowns, and he had 14 touchdowns. That was rushing. And you tell me who's better. Tell me who put up more impressive numbers over the past 3 years from 2020, 21 down to 22. Just a little tidbit for you guys to see. I'm not about trying to sit up there and diminish what this guy has done. I'm just telling you, I'll take Eckler over McCaffrey any day. Any fucking day. And you can try to sit up there and say it's racist and this. No. I just don't think McCaffrey is that guy.
And this is what I'm talking about. And all of this has its roots with this guy. Where, ironically enough, Easy Ed McCaffrey, fine receiver for that of the Broncos, son is Christian McCaffrey, who I think probably is making right at $19 million a year based upon that contract and what he did back in 2019. That's what they paid him. I told y'all way back then, so watch he get his money with no ifs, no ands, no buts about it. And he got it. That's why Saquon Barkley asked for the money. He wants the same money that Christian McCaffrey got. Why? Because what he did or what his agent did, because it's a thing of numbers. I tell you guys, numbers don't lie, get emotional. People do. He's like, when I don't play, we lose. When McCaffrey plays, they lose. And the Giants, to me, is not that very good of a ball club. That's just my take on it. So they lose. When he plays, they lose. If they don't play, lose. When McCaffrey plays, they lose. Now he's on a team that's loaded. Does his 1139, 400 or 500 yards, receiving. And they get to the playoffs. Okay. And if Seahawks don't make the silly mistakes, they could have actually won that game. But that's neither here nor there. That's why Saquon Barkley wanted that particular type of money. And they're not giving him that money because, I tell y'all again, Penn State cursed with running backs. That's why he's not getting that money. That's why he ends up taking the $10 million and doing the 1 year and whatnot. And when Saquon Barkley is actually healthy, Saquon Barkley can probably be the best running back in football. Bar none. He has everything. He has a piece of Earl Campbell. He has a piece of that of Barry Sanders and whatnot, and that of some Eric Dickerson in him. He has all of that. The guy's gifted beyond repair. Gotta stay on that field, and that's the problem right there that he is having. And why the running back, and that's why Nick Chubb say, "Well, shit, you can rush for 2,000 yards." And say, "Oh, well, you wore out." My 2,000 yards got us over here though. Doesn't matter. And like TJ said, it would take somebody like an Adrian Peterson to come in and do what he did for a couple of so years and whatnot to get it back to where it was, almost like that of Ezekiel Elliott as well. But no, they're not going to do that, and that's why what Nick Chubb said, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do?" Or they run these guys in the ground when he's on his, and they got him on the rookie contract, and that's it. You're not. It's like we're not giving you no more money. You're wore out. And that's the game that these teams are playing with these guys at the running back position, which go back to the collective bargaining agreement, CBA. This is what they're going to have to do, but this is going to have to just can't be for running back. This has to be for overall, just like they did for the quarterbacks that were coming into the league. And I think Sam Bradford was the last quarterback that got all that big ass money because they stopped it with Cam. Or Cam might have been the last one or whatever. Got all that fucking money and shit like that, and these guys don't end up being too much of anything. Cam did what he's supposed to do, got his money and stuff like that, got paid, did some good things and whatnot in the league. Was to me having a Hall of Fame career like I did a couple so years ago. His numbers and everything like that was comparable, and even better than that of Drew Brees. But Drew Brees ended up lapping him because Cam started getting hurt after being one of the most durable players in the league. And this is the game that they're playing with these guys, and that's why the running back position is devalued. It's not valued anymore. They don't value them because Mahomes is showing how he's playing quarterback at the level, and even going back to Aaron Rodgers, because really, what running back do you have? And that's what's happening now, and that's unfortunate, but that's where we at now. Like I tell you guys all the time, there's no greatest of all time amongst time still going on. And numbers online get emotional. People do it. We'll talk to you guys later.